Hi, in this video, I will show you how to easily use the TransAIde plugin. The TransAIde plugin for Trados Studio lets you translate entire documents using AI or NMT systems, but it's not a typical translation provider plugin. TransAIde works in a completely different way. The simplest workflow involves exporting the entire text from Trados Studio to a text file, along with a list of terms, and then importing the translated text back into your Trados Studio project. This approach is designed to give you consistent translations that take the full document context into account, instead of just translating isolated sentences. Plus, it gives you the freedom to use any AI and NMT tools in any way you choose. Here's what a typical workflow with the TransAIde plugin looks like. First, I'll export the entire text. To do this, I'll go to the Add Ends menu and click the Export Segments button in the ribbon. This opens the Text Export dialog box, where I can choose various export settings. In my example, I'll use the default settings, which means I'll export the source text without tags from all segments and into a file with a specific name, which will be created by default in the Trados Studio project folder. I click Export. The Open Folder button next to it opens the directory where the file with the exported text was created. Next, I'll export the list of terms from my term base. To do this, I click the Export Terms button. The term export window will appear. I click the Export button. Then I can open the folder with the created files by clicking the Open Folder button. We can see two text files have been created here. One contains the source text. You can see that each segment is on a separate line in the file. The other file contains the list of terms, divided into two lists, required terms and forbidden terms. We can use these files to build our own custom prompt for the AI. Now I'll switch over to an AI system. In my case, it will be Google's AI Studio, but you can use any system and any workflow you prefer, because that's the great advantage of the TransAIde plugin. Here we see the Google AI Studio interface. It's an interface for testing Google models via an API, which can be perfectly adapted for our needs. So, how do you create a simple prompt for AI translation? First, I select the chat option on the left. Then I choose the Gemini 2.5 Pro model. And finally, system instructions on the right. Here we can define general instructions for the model. I already have a system prompt created, so I'll just select it from the list. The system prompt should specify all general linguistic and technical requirements for translation. You can find my example system prompt on my website. The link to it is in the video description. Once our system prompt is sorted, we can upload the file for translation and the glossary. Now, all we need to do is write a short prompt to get the translation. In the prompt, I specify which files contain the text to be translated and the glossary. After a moment, I get the complete translation. If you see something you don't like in the translation, you can ask for changes right here. If the text looks good, you should copy it and create a new text file to import into Trados Studio. To do this, I copy the entire response text to the clipboard. Then, I open my favorite text editor. I open the source text exported from Trados Studio in it. Then, I create a new empty text document. I paste the copied translation from the clipboard and save the file. Next, I compare both files. I'm basically doing a quick, simple alignment. In an editor like Notepad++, you can do this easily by moving one document to another view using the Move to Other View command. Finally, I check that the number of lines in both files is the same, and that their contents correspond with each other. Next, I return to Trados Studio. I click the Import Segments button on the ribbon. The import window opens where I select the import settings. Then I choose whether I'm importing text from a file or from the clipboard, whether the translation should be imported into all segments or, for example, only to unconfirmed ones, and whether the imported file contains translations for all segments or only for those to be imported. After selecting the settings, I click the Import button. After a moment, the translations are imported. It's worth noting that locked segments were not changed. Locked segments are never modified during the import process. That's all. Thank you for your attention. Links to all important information can be found in the description. If you like this form of presentation of my plugin's capabilities and would like to see more videos like this, let me know in the comments. More information about TransAIde can be found on my website and social media.